Hi everyone, this is Amber and I'm here again today for another manga haul video. For the month of April, I really didn't have like a huge manga haul, so it's really just been one that I'm going to do. I'm not going to do two like I typically do. It was more about picking up new volumes of series that I'm collecting, but it looks like the month of May I'll be getting a lot more volumes, stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to that. And actually soon I should start having some figures come in, so hopefully I'll be doing a little unboxing for those. But without any further ado, let's just jump right into the video. So the first publishing group I'm going to be starting with will be Viz. So we're going to start off with the bigger volume I have. So I have volume 10 of Tokyo Ghoul Re. I don't think there's much to say about Tokyo Ghoul Re. I've been collecting it for a little bit. I've actually read majority of Tokyo Ghoul Re online, but I'm just picking up the volumes as they release, reading them, collecting them. Tokyo Ghoul Re. I really wish that the anime that had aired had done it justice. It's really sad when you have these manga that are really thought out and have a lot of foreshadowing, a lot of things, like every action has a reason behind them, and it's really sad when those really thought out mangas get picked up by animation studios that don't do them justice, because then the anime gets hate, and it's like people, especially anime onlys, will be thinking that the manga is going to be like terrible too because the anime was so bad and there's so many like loose ends, all of that stuff. So much was cut out from the anime too that was in the manga, so it's really sad, but I'm at least happy that we do have the volumes of Tokyo Ghoul Re being released, so that way we at least get some good content opposed to just living with what the anime gave us. Continuing on in Viz Media, I have volume number 9 of The Promised Neverland. The Promised Neverland is another one that doesn't really need an introduction. If I'm not mistaken, Promised Neverland's anime is actually slated for another release in 2020, which I'm looking forward to because then we get into the Goldie Pond arc. For this series, I actually am not reading too far ahead online. I'm just kind of staying up with the physical volumes. I don't really feel the need to kind of tear through it online, so I'm more than content on waiting, and that's what I've been doing. You can hear my dog in the background barking. So, yes. We're getting into actually kind of good arcs right now. You know, I had actually seen online that a lot of people, and I think maybe in a little bit more of the later stuff, people are like kind of not as into Promised Neverland because something about like, I think some of the mystery and horror elements that are maybe in the earlier volumes kind of disappeared. I don't know. It's what I've seen. But Promised Neverland is still one of the ones that I kind of enjoy. Is it my top series? No. But I am going out and buying all the new releases and reading them and all of that. So, there's that. So, now I have volume 8 of Platinum End. You know, I actually really enjoy Platinum End. I know some people, it's either like you like it or you don't like it. And for me, I do like it. And I'm not saying that there aren't kind of tropes, because to be honest, every story has its tropes and stuff. But the artwork is really, really nice. I do prefer the story. I like stories with the angels and all that stuff. The artwork's good. Biggest thing for me is the characters sometimes I'm not like the hugest fan of. The main female character, I'm definitely not that big of a fan of. The main character, the male character, I'm fine with. Because to me, like, his emotions are very, very human. And the decision he has to make throughout the volumes, whether it's like saving someone, killing someone, all of that, I enjoy reading that. And because I'm really big into like seeing the human side of things, you know, if he was a main character that literally had no hesitation about killing someone, then it probably wouldn't be as interesting. It has to be that human side, because then the people he's against are more the people who are like, well, I'm willing to sacrifice anything to get what I want, versus the main character in the story is very much so like even the bad people in the world can still be saved. But the main female character, I'm not a big fan of. That's probably my biggest turn off on this story, is the main female character. She's just, I just can't get behind her. There's literally, every time I read these volumes, I'm like, I wish we could like take her out of the situation and just focus on the angels with the main character and all that stuff, not her. She's totally like, I don't like anything about her. So, there's that. So, continuing on with the Viz Media releases, but more so going into their Shinjo Beat, I have volume 4 of AO Haru Ride. This is one that I have read the entirety of it online. Now I'm just picking the volumes as they release in English. I think this is a pretty well-known shoujo. It can alternatively be known as, especially the anime, if I'm not mistaken, Blue Spring Ride. The artwork's good. You know, I really don't have a problem with the story until he's kind of mentioned a little bit more in this one. But I don't really have a problem with the story until the love triangle is more so introduced, and then the love triangle is introduced. I'm kind of like, seriously? This is not really needed. I mean, it's just shoujo. I feel like any type of romance you have, it's the shoujo laws that there has to be another main character that's a guy, and it always comes in usually like a couple volumes down in the series to just screw things up. So, we get that in this story. Luckily, at the end, after everything, it's somewhat worth it. So, nonetheless, still a good story. I'm just not the biggest fan of love triangles or anything like that. I prefer a story that has, I don't know how you say it. Well, I prefer a story that has no competitive, sometimes I feel like the love triangles are just brought in, and there's no need for the love triangles except to just cause this unnecessary drama. And as someone who reads a lot and who also writes, at times, unless the love triangle is done really well, at times it just seems like it's the author's way of kind of being lazy to create drama. And it's a really typical route, because you bring in this new male character, especially in your shoujos, and it's like all of a sudden there's competition between the two males, and then there's drama, and there should be, or people should go other routes to kind of create that drama that kind of keeps the readers reading, but it shouldn't be caused by just love triangles. Like, love triangles to me are a very lazy, common way for drama to occur, where just do something else to create the drama, or do something else to captivate the audience. Love triangles are not needed in every single story. So, moving on to the next volume, I have volume number 17 of Jana of the Dawn. This is one that I think in my last haul I collected or picked up most of the volumes that I had yet to get. So now, as of this volume, I am up to date on English release. Yana of the Dawn, now that I've gotten past the point where I had watched in the anime a few times, I actually really enjoy the manga now. Preferably, my favorite character is Hawk. So sometimes I'm like, yes. And sometimes volumes don't have a lot of him, and then other volumes are like tons of Hawk, so I'm good. But the artwork's pretty good. I've said this before, I really enjoy stories with dragons. I've always really liked dragons, fantasy, all that type of stuff, so it's really good. In the later portion of this volume, we also get a little bit of a backstory in one of the dragons, so that was good. But not too much to say about Jana of the Dawn, except for that it's a pretty solid story, and I really do appreciate the storyline behind it, in the sense that the main character just doesn't go from weak and pitiful to this powerful person. It's more of a gradual thing, and even though we get into the later volumes, she still has lots of problems. So it's not like just one day she wakes up and she's like this weak thing that does nothing, and then she gets told that maybe she has to find all these dragons, and the next day she finds one and she's like, oh my gosh, I have all this power now. I can do whatever I want. It's not like that at all, which I really, really appreciate. So, moving on, I have volume number 9 of The Water Dragon's Bride. I actually enjoy this story. Is it a outbreaking, amazing story? No, but it's still a good one. This one has a little bit of a love triangle. It's with the dude on the cover, and then the water dragon, and then the priestess. I'm really bad at remembering names, so I just have to go on like what I remember them from. But it has like a slight one, but it's pretty obvious that the priestess and the water god are going to get together. So I don't have that big of a problem with it. I mean, it's pretty like one-sided. The guy on the cover really loves her, but I don't think she ever really has viewed him as anything more. So for me, I've always liked the priestess and the water god better, so it kind of works out for my interest. But not like a super outbreaking story. Like, it's more of like a light, kind of soft read. You know, it's not too crazy with really anything. But my biggest complaint is, if I'm not mistaken, it will actually be kind of ending soon. I think there's not too many more volumes left that are going to be released. So I'm kind of confused with how it's going to wrap up, because I feel like I saw somewhere that there's only going to be like maybe 4 or 5 more volumes being released. So I'm really just hoping it's not really rushed, because that's what I'm afraid might happen. But it has good artwork, good characters, but it's definitely not a story that's going to make you like sit down and like think about things. And if you like shoujo, then it's pretty good. But, you know, if you don't like shoujo, that's kind of more like sweet, soft, things like that, then I probably wouldn't recommend it, because it's very much so like this is a book that I would read if I'm kind of feeling a bit down, and I would read it just because it's kind of lighthearted. I mean, it has its moments that are a little bit more darker, but overall it's not something that's going to make you like really depressed or sad. So there's that. So moving on to my last volume from Shinjo Beat, and probably was one of my more anticipated volumes, because I absolutely adore and love the series. I have volume number 8 of Connie and Hannah. Yes, Connie and Hannah is probably my favorite shoujo release right now. When I got the first volume, I was like, oh, well, I just saw this. It looked like it had good artwork and everything. And now that I've actually read it, I'm like, this is like the one that I always look to see when it's releasing. I always go to the store because typically Barnes & Noble is where I'll pick up some of the releases. If I'm trying to play catch up on a series, I'll typically do that by purchasing them off places like Barnes & Noble online, because typically I can find pretty good deals. Right Stuff is another one where I'll get some, but my problem with Right Stuff is that shipping takes forever, and to me, it makes a lot more sense to just maybe pay a little bit more on the actual price of the book on Amazon and get free shipping and get it in 2 days, opposed to having to pay a certain amount on Right Stuff and then the shipping take like over a week. That's like, if I have a super big order and I just can't resist what's on Right Stuff, then yeah, I'll do it. But typically I haven't ordered from Right Stuff in a while. I've been mainly ordering from Amazon. But Barnes & Noble sometimes will have the newer releases. Like, new releases typically release on a Tuesday for me. So sometimes if I go on a Monday, they'll already have them out. So if I know Connie and Hannah are releasing, then I'll go on a Monday and see. And so last time they actually had this volume early, so I was able to pick it up a little bit earlier. And like I said, I actually really enjoy this. This is probably my top shoujo as of right now. It has everything I would want. Good artwork, lots of comedy. The ending stories always make me laugh. Yeah, this is probably the only shoujo that I actually have that when I read, I actually laugh. So that's nice, because I'm not one of these people that, like, if it's I don't buy just comedy manga. It has to have something else. And so for a story like this, it does have the romance, it does have the comedy, so it's like a perfect blend to me. And I really enjoy this story. The biggest thing I think for some people that puts them off is there is a slight age gap, or there is an age gap between the main characters. And so I think that for some people that might be a little bit of a put off, but nonetheless, I still really enjoyed the story and I recommend it to people, and I will keep picking up volumes because to me it only gets better and better. Now we're going to move on to my Yen Press releases. So I bought 2 from Yen Press, and I got volume number 4 and volume number 5 of the Case Study of Venatus. The Case Study of Venatus is a kind of steampunk vampire type of story. If I'm not mistaken, it is by the same person who did the manga Pandora Hearts. Granted, I have not read Pandora Hearts and really do not plan on reading Pandora Hearts, but I am collecting the Case Study of Venatus. I've had the first 3 volumes for a while, and then finally sat down and read volume number 3, and then after reading 3, I was like, okay, I have to get 4 and 5. Artwork is pretty good. My favorite character by far has to be Venatus. I'm not, like, the other main character is pretty good. I think his name is Noel. He's pretty good, but Venatus, I'm hoping I'm saying it right, that is just, he's perfect. I mean, he's weird, and he's kind of crazy a tad bit, but he's everything I could want in a character. I wish I could find a really good page of him, but, you know, even though it's kind of a vampire story, it's definitely not one of these stories that's really stuck on the idea of, how do I explain? Like, you know, some vampire stories are just all about, like, drinking blood. I mean, I've read quite a few, and I've watched quite a few things where it's like, oh, the blood, I have to resist and all that stuff. Case Study of Venatus is not really like that. The more premise of the stories is about these things called curse bearers and trying to fix the curse bearers. And Venatus is actually one of the keys to kind of curing them. So he plays a really big role in everything. But there's a lot, and I don't really want to spoil everything because the later the series get, the more you're like, oh, okay, like, you'll learn things about Venatus, you'll learn things about the other main characters. I'm trying to think. There is a romance element to the stories. It's not the biggest element. Like, for the majority of the books or volumes I've read for this, the main premise is more so about trying to figure out how to cure the curse bearers than anything else. And then you have more of the subgenres of like romance, historical stuff. Things like that are more so put to the side. But if you are the type of person who really enjoys stories with a lot of world building and a lot of really detailed architecture, then the Case Study of Venatus is definitely for you because it really delivers really highly on those type of things. The artwork for like the buildings and when they show kind of the masquerade stuff, it's really beautiful. So if you're into stuff like that and you really like really nice artwork, this is probably a story I would recommend just kind of picking up in 1 or 2 volumes to see how you feel about it. It's not like your typical vampire story, so there is that. But there are those 2. So now to wrap up this manga haul, I have the last volume that I got this month by Kodansha Comics. It is volume number 27 of Attack on Titan. I've said this before in previous videos. I have actually read majority of Attack on Titan online. I follow the releases every month. So I still pick up the volumes when they get released, but I do follow it online, so I'm a bit ahead. Attack on Titan's a really good story. I don't think there's much that needs to be said because it is just so highly regarded. The anime is already out as of this video. The first episode will have been released, and I think the next episode will be the battle between Levi and the Beast Titan, so I'm really excited to see that. If you don't know, because I've never actually shown my figures off, I'm a big Levi fan, so I'm really excited to see that and see it finally get animated. This is probably one of my favorite arcs of Attack on Titan coming up, and then we get into the Marley stuff. And after reading this volume, I have still yet to decide how I feel about Eren. And even reading the newer releases, I just still can't decide how I feel about Eren. I want to believe Eren's this really good guy, but then at the same time, when you read, you're like, well, he kind of does sound like he's becoming the villain of the story more so than anybody else. I will say that was quite a cool picture at the end, but yeah, I don't think there's too much to say about Attack on Titan. Really good story. Biggest thing is if you can get through the lower quality artwork in the first couple of volumes and just more so focus on the actual story, then you'll be good. The artwork steadily gets better. There were a few volumes in the middle that had a little bit more rougher artwork, but I do remember reading that the mangaka actually was having a hard time during that time, so that's fine. Nonetheless, if you kind of push aside the artwork and just focus on the actual story and the meaning behind it and the, what am I trying to say? The characteristics of it and everything, because a lot of thought and a lot of just thought and time went into the world building for this story, which I really enjoy. Just everything. Like, you always think you have the history figured out, and then there's something else. And for someone like me who likes to read stuff like that and kind of analyze it, Attack on Titan's a really good story. So this is probably one of my more highly recommended manga, and I feel like for a lot of people that's kind of how it is. You just kind of have to get past the kind of bad artwork and the series length. It's not a small series. because this is our 27th volume, and 28th volume should be releasing soon. And I know that Attack on Titan still has a few more chapters. I want to say it at least has over 10 more chapters left until Attack on Titan will end. So you can still probably expect, I would probably think by the time it ends, we're going to have at least over 30 volumes. So it's definitely not one of those series that is nice and short and easy. But I still recommend getting it, or at least giving it a little shot, and then deciding from there. So this was the haul that I got for the month of April. Like I said, a little bit smaller than I had anticipated, but that was just because for the majority of this month, I focused more so on newer releases. The month of May is going to be a lot more volumes because I think there's a few new series that are releasing their first volumes this month. And I'm planning on picking up a few of them, just not starting with all of them. I have to kind of look and actually see. There's like one story that I may pick up that's a shoujo that's called Snow White with red hair, I believe. I watched a few episodes of the anime, but I just need to make certain that I actually kind of like the art style before I decide to get into the story. But hopefully I'll have a good May with picking up volumes. Like I said earlier in this video, I am supposed to be getting some more figures in. I have a few coming from, or I have one right now coming from Banana Fish, and I have a few other ones that will be coming, and I'm steadily kind of picking them up as I go. So if it's something that might be of interest, then I'm more than happy to probably do an unboxing video of them, because I have about, this year is definitely going to start being a lot more of my figure collecting year. I have my whole list down, and I've already figured out which ones I'm going to buy next, and I know already I have about 4 or 5 figurines ordered for this year, and then I have about 6 that I need to order. So definitely a lot more figures. I'm still collecting the manga for sure, but the unboxing of figures might be done and might have a video. I haven't decided yet. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe, and thank you guys for all the support again. I'm so surprised that I even got over 100 subscribers. That kind of blows my mind away, especially since I feel bad for most of the people who watch these videos because they like to talk and ramble. So, but until next time, I'll see you again, and bye!